Do you find yourself saying, "Oh, I can't wait to get to the end of the day to have that glass of wine," or "Oh yeah, but I really need the chocolate. It helps me relax." Or maybe you have to exercise, otherwise you just feel really on edge. If that's you, then keep listening because this week's Friday focus is really going to help you. Here's what I notice. We, oh, my dog's just come in. We um think and we hear from marketers that the chocolate's going to make us feel better, that, the alcohol relaxes us. Um, we know that exercise is physically beneficial for our body, for our physical and mental well-being. But any activity, anything that you do to avoid a negative emotion or try and get a positive emotion is going to have a negative consequence. So hear me out for a second, especially with the exercise. It's easy to get your head around eating too much sugar or drinking too much alcohol. So you really believe that at the moment you need that glass of wine in the evening to relax. And especially with alcohol, temporarily, excuse me, you do feel relaxed. Alcohol numbs our senses, but it numbs the good emotions as well as the negative. Or for some people, it heightens the emotion that they're feeling. So if they're feeling sad, they feel sadder. Or if they're feeling angry, they feel angrier. So if we take the relaxation, yes, for a very short period of time, alcohol numbs our emotions. It helps to release inhibitions. When you first eat the sugar, that dopamine hit that you get, that, oh, makes you feel good. But then in the long term, the next day or the next week, you just feel crap because now you wake up in the morning, you've got a bit of a muzzy head, bit of a hangover. You're not quite clear. So then you need loads of coffee to wake yourself up. And I definitely get a sugar hangover. Having not had frequent sugar now, I have it on the odd occasion, but it's definitely not a part of my day-to-day intake anymore. I really notice it the next day. I do feel very sluggish. You get a sugar hangover, and that's not relaxing. That is not making you feel good. So, alcohol, sugar, overeating, it's not actually relaxing in the long term. It doesn't actually make you feel good in the long term. And now with exercise, exercise is a funny one, isn't it? Because yes, exercise is very good for our body. And if you're going out for a walk or you're going out for a run and you use that time to actively process through your thoughts and your emotions, then it can be very beneficial. But if you're going out for that walk or you're going out for that run or you have to do that exercise in order to avoid an emotion, to get rid of, to ignore, then that's not going to be having a positive benefit on your emotional health. Physical, yes. Emotional, no. Because what happens if you injure yourself and you can't go out for that walk, or you can't go out for the run, or you can't do the exercise that you're used to doing? What happens then to your mental health? So what happens when you learn the skill of creating your own emotions, when you learn the skill of not relying on something external to create an internal feeling, then you've got yourself. You've got yourself, and everything else is just a nice to have. If you choose to have the chocolate, it's a nice to have, not a need to have. Same with the wine. If you have that glass of wine, it's a nice to have, not a need to have. Same with the exercise, whatever activity, watching porn. For some people, it's cleaning. Like it doesn't matter what the activity is, whatever activity you do to avoid a negative emotion has a negative consequence. It creates more negativity because we're not dealing with the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem is your mind, always, because it's your thoughts that create your feelings. So if your thoughts create your feelings, you don't necessarily need to drink the chocolate, eat the chocolate, or drink the wine or do the running in order to feel good. You can create that for yourself ahead of time, and then everything else is just nice to have. It's the same with a holiday. How many of you say, I need to have a holiday? Oh my gosh, I just need to get away. I need a break. And then what happens is you spend like 50 weeks of your year stressed, miserable, looking forward, um wishing the time away to your holiday. And then it's just for 2 weeks. And then you have a wonderful 2 weeks. Don't get me wrong, I love me a lush holiday, but not because I need it. I don't need a holiday. A holiday is just a nice to have. And I think this is one of the most incredible gifts that you can give yourself when you learn how to manage your mind and you learn how to create your emotions and you learn with your thoughts how to comfort yourself and how to create safety and how to relax your central nervous system and calm yourself down. You're not then dependent on something to make you feel good. Because when you're dependent on an external factor to try and create an internal emotion, then you're just a little bit helpless in your life, just like a child. So if you imagine a child literally is dependent on an external person to create to make sure that they're looked after. A child is helpless. A child does need that external support and that external care and that external looking after because they do not have the ability to do it themselves. But you're a fully functioning adult. You don't actually need anything external now to create your internal emotions. It's just that no one's actually taught you how to do it. And so when you're looking for that external thing to make you feel better, then you're in your childlike state. You're dependent. You're kind of a bit helpless. And look, if you're listening to this and you're getting mad at me and you're starting to get a little bit pissed off, that's okay. I'm here for that. Nothing has gone wrong. I would just love you to know the power that you actually have in your life. And if you are getting a little bit defensive and you are getting a little bit pissed off, that's probably showing you that you've got a dependency on something. You are dependent on something external to try and give you an emotion. But I'm guessing it's not working because you've probably ate a load of chocolate in your lifetime so far. You've probably drank a lot of alcohol if you were anything like me in your lifetime. You've been on holidays, many of them, if you've been lucky enough. It hasn't changed anything internal because it's none of those external things that change your internal emotion until you learn how to manage your mind and manage your emotions. And it is as simple as my ABC. A, acknowledging what you're currently saying to yourself, breathing and understanding why it's there. And then C, choosing deliberately what you want to think instead. And this is where a life coach comes in, a life coach or a very loving, no bullshit friend. You can, if you're creating the negativity in your life, this is the best news ever because you can create something else if you want to. And if this is depending on why you need to feel better, if it's because you're your relationship with yourself isn't that great, if it's because um, you're disorganized and you're rushing around everywhere and you're stressed all the time, that's all optional. Because here's what I know to be true. If you slept in a bed last night, in a room, in a house, and your children were safe and dry in their bed, you have nothing to worry about. The only problems that we have are problems that we create with our mind. And when you are dependent on that external thing to make you feel better, you're always going to need that external thing. You're not building the resilience and the skill and the strength to have your own back. So I choose now, very rarely do I eat sugar. I do have it. I had it the weekend. Excuse me. When I have it, I enjoy it. Um, I haven't drank alcohol now for about 5 years because I do not want the hangover the next day. I'm done. That is complete in my life. I don't feel like I ever need to have a sip of alcohol again. I just don't like the negative consequence of it. I would rather have the short-term discomfort of experiencing the craving for it than have the hours the next day feeling crap. Same with sugar. I would rather experience the temporary discomfort of experiencing the craving for a dessert, for example, rather than have the months and years of overweight and feeling tired. So, when you're willing to learn how to create comfort in your body, and the way that you do that is literally by saying to yourself, I'm safe, I'm alive. Like nothing is going wrong in this moment. I can breathe. If you want to feel relaxed, it can feel like taking, so you can Google breathing techniques for relaxation. There is loads of it on YouTube, amazing free resources. Just learn how to breathe deeply. And actually, when you're comfortable feeling uncomfortable, then the relaxation comes in, the calmness comes in. So what I do is like when I'm feeling antsy, I sit and I just put my hand on my heart and I just breathe. And I just remind myself I'm safe. Because the worst thing that's ever going to happen is an emotion created by your brain. And when you've learned how to handle any emotion, there are no problems. It's kind of a bit trippy. So coming back to the overeating, coming back to the overdrinking, if you're in a really good place with it and it makes you feel amazing and brilliant, carry on. I'm not telling you you shouldn't. But if part of you knows that in doing those activities, you are trying to escape a negative emotion, it's going to have a negative consequence. And if you want to deal with that, if you want to prevent that negativity growing or increasing or getting worse, then please get in touch because I can help you. I can help you create a calmness in your life. I can help you really step into the authentic version of you that you want to be. I can help you to not depend on the holiday or the sugar or the alcohol to make you feel good. And when you're depending on yourself, when you've got yourself, all of that is just really nice to have. It's not a need to have. So I kind of hope this really inspires you to just take an honest, non-judgmental look at what you're currently doing. And if you're doing it um to try and get an emotion or try and avoid an emotion, ask yourself, is it actually helping? Because if it is, great. If it's not, you have a choice. You actually get to do something about it. And I would love to support you in that if that's what you choose to do. Have an amazing week, and I'll speak to you all again next week. Bye bye.